Live, you're live. Okay, very well, very well. So, hello there, folks. My name is Protesilaos, also known as Prot. Let me make sure that I dismiss everything. And I just have Emacs here, and I decided to do another one of those spontaneous live streams, maybe for an hour, maybe for a little bit more, just do some programming. And I will basically continue from where I left it this morning. Yesterday, I did another live stream where I was trying to implement a feature and I encountered some challenges, but eventually, towards the end of the stream, I managed to make it work. And this morning, I did some more work. It's in the same spirit of what I was doing yesterday. This is the main function, just to show you, just so that we are on the same page. I admit that I don't really like this one let the way I wrote it, so maybe I will tweak it a little bit so that it is a when, then a let. We will see, but this works. And I have split it into two more functions, helper functions. One which will check for one aspect of what I am checking, and another which will check for another aspect. The technicalities don't really matter. What matters is mostly the programming work that I will be doing here, and we will see a few of other things today. And I have written some tests for those. So more of what I was doing yesterday, really. Let me now go to the file where I am here. And I was about to make some small changes, documentation changes, and then start extending what I have right now. But I want to park this for a second because I remembered that there is another set of features I want to implement in the main branch. So this is the feature branch. Let me then stash this. Let's just stash it like this for now. Do I have another stash? What was that? Okay, let's leave that. And actually, I want to switch to the main branch now. So let's go to the main branch. And what I want to do is go to the hierarchy view. So this is a command which will take some files and display them in the hierarchy that they have. But maybe I should take a step back to explain a little bit of what this package is about. So there is the denote package, which is for people to name their files and to create new files using the denote file naming scheme. Those new files will typically be notes where you store your knowledge or the things you are thinking about, and you can create links between the files, and you can find the files based on their file name. You can find stuff based on their contents and so on. So there are a lot of things built on top of the denote file naming scheme. One such thing is the denote-sequence package, which is what I am working now. It is one of my packages. And the denote-sequence package, what it does is that it leverages a field that the denote file naming scheme provides, which is this field over here where the number is. This field is called the signature, and it's a free-form field. Anybody can add anything they want there. And the denote-sequence uses this to write so-called sequences. And the sequences are meant to establish a hierarchy between the files. And this hierarchy rather, is by association. So for example, here we have the number one, and so 1A extends 1. This is the idea. There are different sequencing schemes. This is not the only way to represent a hierarchy. There are others. But anyway, here there is the denote sequence view hierarchy command. And what this will do is it will, so in the upper window here, I have a DRED buffer. And in the bottom window here, I have the view only of the nodes that have a sequence. So here it's everything. This is all the files that I have created. Of course, this is for demo purposes. This is not my actual notes. All the files I have created. And then here are the files which have sequences, and then in the order they should be presented in. Now, in this buffer, I can move around, and I can also hit enter to open the relevant file. Okay, and I can go down and hit enter again, and it switches to the other file and it focuses that file. Now, what I want to do is implement a feature where if I move down, it will optionally preview the file, rather open the file, not preview, open the file, but stay in the hierarchy view. So display that, but then stay here. And basically, it would be the equivalent of doing this. You move one down, you hit enter, you move back to the file, to the buffer. So that is the idea. Let me then go to the denote sequence now code. And by the way, just to say, if there are any questions, I am happy to answer them. I just announced this like 30 minutes before, and I don't expect anybody to show up, but just in case. So I would have done this work anyway, and I was like, okay, why not do it live? Actually, there is a comment. Joao says, hello, Prod. Glad to see you live. So thank you very much. So let's get to work then. These what I want to do now is to create new functions, new commands. So here is the key map. And what I want to do is extend what we have right here, because here I am using the generic outline mode functions to move up and down in that hierarchy view. I am able to use these functions because that hierarchy view is running its own major mode, which, among others, defines the so-called outline regex, which means what is the pattern by which an outline is established, like org mode and many other modes that have an outline. So I can then benefit from that. And here, for example, the tab, you can fold them, the usual stuff. But I don't want this anymore. I want a wrapper which will do this and then do this and then come back to the window as we said. So let me write the function first, what I want to do. So I will just write the function here, denote sequence hierarchy. And the convention in Emacs Lisp is to use the prefix of your package. And then a convention that I extend from that is if there is a feature of something, so for example, the hierarchy view here, I will do the name of the package, then what this feature is about, and then here I will extend it further. So actually, let me get this outline here. And then what I will do is the hierarchy, the hierarchy here. I will just put it like this, okay? And this will take n, because outline forward same level takes n as an argument. So let me do that. And I noticed that Joao has a couple more comments, and I will get to you right away. Just let me type this out, and we will see the idea. So the idea is that it will do this fun call, or let's leave it like this with n, and then it will do the other one, which is the denote sequence hierarchy find file, this one. And this one, let me remind myself of, I have to eval, what is it? Hierarchy find file? Hierarchy, what is the problem here? Of course, there has to be a typo. Denote sequence hierarchy, of course, find file, sorry. Find file. So why is it still erroneous? Let's see. Okay, I want to check if there is at position. Okay, so here I don't really need to give it the position. I can just call it interactively, and then it will do the right thing. So, and I know it will do the right thing because I write code like this. When you are defining a command, so something that is interactive, you can still give it parameters which, if you call them interactively, are interpreted within the interactive specification. So this is a list of the parameters. So it is mirrored in the interactive specification as the list of the values, each of which corresponds to those parameters. And if you don't call it interactively, so let's say we are calling it from Lisp. Now the parameter has to be reified through the argument. Otherwise, it is reified through the calling convention here of when you do it interactively. So in this case, I just want to say call interactively, and I'm good because I don't need to focus on that over there, and I am good. So here is the idea of what I want to do. But I also want to add another thing, which is that this operation should take me back to the window where the hierarchy is. Whereas right now, if I do this and then this, I end up in the window that I opened, in the file that I opened. So what I can do, there is a macro, save window excursion. So there is a macro here that you can use, but the problem with this one, I have tried it before and I know the problem with this one is that actually, let's try it. Let's do it and you will see what the problem is. Save window excursion. Okay, so we have some code here and I will run this code, but before I do that, let me get to the comments because there were a couple more by Joao and then there are two more. So Joao asks, I have a question, but I'm not sure if it's related to the node. I saw somewhere, probably in a live where you were a guest. Do you use denote to publish your content on your blog? If so, how is the flow? No, I don't. And this is because in 2016, I switched from WordPress.org to Jekyll. At the time, I didn't really know anything. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't even using Linux. And I have stuck with Jekyll ever since. The problem is that my website is massive. It's like millions of words and thousands of publications. So I would rather not try anything. But at some point, the idea is to switch to something more Emacsy, more denote, more whatever. But for the time being, it's just a Jekyll, regular Markdown files for Jekyll, and yeah, I don't really have anything special going on there. But yeah, if I were starting today, I would probably do something with denote, or at the very least something with org. Like, I would do something different. It would definitely not be Jekyll. Let's see here. Manifesto says, hi, Prot. Been using denote-sequence since started my master's degree in ecology. Really useful. It helps a lot. I just not figured out a way to manage my bibliographies and integrate it with the BibTech system. Take a look at CTAR, the CTAR package. Let me write it here so you see what I'm talking about. CTAR here, this package, and then there is the CTAR denote package by Peter Prevost. Okay, so CTAR denote, and by the way, Peter, since I mentioned it, has also written. He is the author of the Emacs Writing Studio, and the Emacs Writing Studio is a configuration for Emacs, like a starter kit, as well as a book which you can learn from even if you don't use the starter kit, because Peter describes how you can write notes, how you can manage your bibliography, all that. And it's also with the help of Denote, among other packages. So that's very nice. Take Tac, where is it? Tac Overflow. Okay, yeah. So cheers, Prot. What theme were you using in the thumbnail from this stream? I really liked it. I honestly don't know because they are loaded at random. How can I check? Let's see. Where is it? It's here. Yeah, there isn't a. Okay, I will find it and I will check. I don't really know right now. Oh, maybe I can check. No, no, no. Wait. It's in the pictures and it's in the screenshots, and it has to be the last one here. Okay. So that's F. What is it? F Dream. F Dream. So it's my F themes. I can actually go load the F themes. So it's this one. Let's load it and let's do Dream here. It's this theme over here. So the F themes and then F Dream. have you thought about using org publish? I looked into it at some point, but as I mentioned earlier, my website simply is a beast at this stage. Like, it would, like, there are so many things I would need to do to ultimately get what I already have, minus or plus a few refinements. So I would rather not bother. Like, I will do it at some point when I have nothing better to do. So yeah. Um, let's see. Okay, so here is the idea. Let's now do the save window excursion, as I was telling you. So we can get out of here. Let's go to the here. So this is the hierarchy view. And now I will invoke, one second, let me get the name of this command. I will invoke this command and we will see what the problem is with save window excursion. I invoke the command. Notice that nothing happened. I don't see anything happening to my windows. Nothing changed. It did what it was supposed to do in terms of moving forward to the same level in this case. So it went from the parent here to the parent there. So from 1 to 2 because they are on the same level. But it didn't display like this. It's like this never happened here. It did actually happen, but the problem is the save window excursion. The save window excursion, basically what it does is it moves to a window, does something that it has to do there, comes back, but restores the original window layout, which is not exactly what I want to do. I want the side effect. So I want to have the new window. And so then what I will say is let, for example, the current window be a selected window. One thing with the naming of things is for Windows, it's selected window, and then for buffers is current buffer, which I think it's current buffer. Yeah. So, yeah, that's always something to keep in mind. So I want to store the window I am in. Then I want to do this. And then, by the way, I should also have keycast enabled. And then what I want to do is simply select the window, which will be the current window. That is the idea. Okay, let's now test this here. I will do that, and now it does the right thing, okay? So this is what I want. This is a behavior I want. So let's dismiss that. Let's go back to our file here. Then what I want to do is make this a user option. Denote-sequence hierarchy move and open file. Move and open. Let's call it move and open. I will have it to nil by default. When non-nil, moving in the hierarchy view also displays the file. The hierarchy view is the buffer produced by the command denote sequence view hierarchy. Okay. This user option. Oh, and let me say something. When nil, no, actually it's obvious. Okay, and here the hierarchy view. The commands affected by this user option are the following. And I will list them here, but I want to create them first. So, okay, let's put a pause on that. So this is of type Boolean. And do I have a def group for SQL? Okay, I do have it. Fantastic. So the group here is denote sequence hierarchy. And I have a package version. Okay, and I want this as well. So I want this as well to say at which version was this introduced. So now what I want to do here is this. So we went down, but when this is enabled, then do the thing. So let's test it now. Let's evaluate this. Back to our hierarchy, which is I deleted. No, it's here. Okay, let's go here. Emacs, the thing, it does nothing, which is exactly what it should do. And if I set this to true and I go back, let's do now Emacs, the thing, and it works. Fantastic. So let's go here. So it should be nil by default. And what I want to do is also move that further up. Let's move it here. Okay, that's its place. And I will fix the names here. So we will get to this. And now what I want to do, because of course, I don't want to copy paste this 4 times. That's too busy. I will create a macro. But before I do that, let me check because there are 2 more comments. So Babi Vector says, no, Baki, sorry. Baki Vector says, hey, Prot, how are you doing? I'm fine, thank you. I woke up, I think, at 6 in the morning today. I did a ton of work. Also outside, it has been raining non-stop basically for 10 days, and it will continue to rain. But what can we do? And I was like, okay, let me do some programming before I go to bed. And then I decided, well, let's do it live. How much longer do you plan on keeping the stream up? I don't know, maybe an hour. We will see. I'm really inspired by you. How could I set up a meeting or something sometime? Just send me a message, email or Telegram or Signal, whatever works for you. So there is that. Let's continue here. So let's do the macro. So the macro, in case you don't know, is basically a way to take some code and create a template out of it. And then you can have the macro generate the bigger code for you using a smaller snippet. And in this case, what I want to do, I believe I already have a macro that does something like this. No, I don't have here. I have it in other packages. But what I basically want to do is have a macro that will create 4 copies of this with small tweaks to them. So let's see what we can do with the macro. So let's have a macro, denote-sequence, and then when you write macros like this, actually I can go to one of my packages that I edited this morning. So substitute. Let me bring substitute here. So when we say define, so here is the macro. You write a macro, and if the macro is meant to define a command, you say define and then command. Okay, this is the idea. And we don't need to see what substitute does right now. It's not important, but it's denote-sequence, define, um, hierarchy, motion command. And the definitive quality here, or the defining rather quality here, is the outline command here. And so I would say outline, let's call it motion rather than command, okay? So define a command that performs outline motion. The command respects the user option. Okay, like that. Okay, so here is the idea. We want to create exactly this, but we have to rely on the backtick and the comma notation, meaning that we don't want to evaluate this thing now. We want to print it out so that it can be evaluated later. So the way I wrote this command here, I want to now do the following. I want to do a format. Actually, format is wrong. I will tell you what I want to do. Denote-sequence is the prefix. And then what I have, denote-sequence hierarchy rather is the prefix. And then I have the outline motion that follows this. Outline motion. But this is not exactly correct because it cannot be a string. It has to be a symbol. So I have to intern the string like this. The n is right. I want to write a docstring here. So I will do another format here, but this time it can be like this. So let me think. Perform %s. And now I want to have, let me just have it here, the outline motion. perform %s, and then I will say perform %s. Let's say here, then do what entails. Okay, this is the idea, and have it like that. Okay, so that's our documentation string. Here, of course, I cannot use this anymore. I want to do the outline motion. I can write this in two ways. Actually, I think I can write this in two ways. One would be to do this, and I believe this will work. The other is to do this, and between the two, I think I like this more. But let's see, let's see. I will actually have both now because I'm curious. For the rest, I think this is actually good. Uh, okay, so I have defined the macro, and we will see if I did it right. What we will do here is we will have the macro, and we will take from the macro the forward function here. Let's have that here like this. So now I have a command of mine which basically does pp macro expand last s expression, and this prints the macro. And let's put it here so that we can see it better here. So it's the same. Okay, so actually I will use the first one of the two. Okay, I will not use the fun call. I will use the first one, even though in the macro it looks a little bit strange, but in the final code it looks correct. Like, we will compare them. I will put it, actually let me put it above, and we will see here how it looks. So if we have it like this, I think everything is right. Yeah, it looks correct to me. So fantastic. So we have that. Oh, let's dismiss those. We don't need them anymore. What is the error? Ah, there is no error. Okay. Okay, so let's have now 4 of those. So then it was backward, the other one, backward. And then what were the other two? Next visible and previous visible. Okay. Okay, so let's have it here. Next visible heading. Okay, and then next, and then this was previous. Okay, so this now has created the 4 commands that I want. And the next thing I want to do is go back to that def custom of the hierarchy. Sorry, def custom of the hierarchy here. And I want to list them. And what do I have? Okay, let's actually do a little, what do we call keyboard macro. So I will do a keyboard macro. We go to the end. We come here. Denote hierarchy. I forgot how I called it. I think it's denote sequence hierarchy. So sorry, denote sequence. Denote sequence hierarchy, and then this thing, and I should have put it like that and like this, and go down and and like that. And okay, the macro was not 100% correct. Oh, sorry, because it had a trailing thing there. Actually, do I need the dots? I don't need the dots. Let's leave it like that. Okay, so this looks fine. And what else do I need here? And here, of course, I just need to add the prefix, which I can do like this now. Define sequence hierarchy, like that. Oh, what happened? What's the error? There is not known to be defined. Why? Is it called something else? Let me see. What am I calling it? Denote sequence hierarchy outline. What's the error? Denote sequence hierarchy. Oh, I put define. Oh, come on. Where do we have here define? That's terrible. So I want to do, oh, no, leave that. Actually, let's do it like this. Let's do denote. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I think this is good. Let's evaluate. and then I forget what was the user option, how I called the user option. Let's take the user option. Let's go back to that here. So if I'm moving up and down, nothing happens. This is correct. If I now do here, oh, sorry, it's set Q, the thing, up and down, nothing happens, so that's not good. What did I do wrong? Did I update the key map? The map, let's see. Okay, maybe I didn't do that. Oh, no? What was the error? Move and open. What is bound to P? Okay, okay. Let me create the thing again because it wasn't updating. Okay, so here, let's do the view. Okay, let's dismiss that. Okay, better, better, better. Yes, it works. Let's now set this to nil. Let's dismiss that. Okay, yes, this is good. And F and B and F and B. Okay, so yeah, that's good. Let's see. Where I got a question there. Rand code says, where does the navigation effect come from? I'm not sure what you are referring to. Like the line highlight, maybe? So the line highlight is HL line mode, and I believe I am combining it with my lin package. So let's go to the scratch buffer. So there is a package called lin of mine, and if you are referring to the pulse effect, like this effect, this is another package of mine, pulsar. So those are the two. But if it's something else, just let me know, and I'm happy to check. Let's go here. Nope, meant the green flashing. Yeah, so that's a pulsar. So that's pulsar. Yeah. So that's pulsar. No problem. No worries. No problem. No stress. Okay, so we have these. Let me think. Of course, I will need to document that. Let's look at the. Do I even have the sequence hierarchy view mentioned anywhere? I haven't mentioned it yet. So is there a hierarchy? Hierarchy. Okay, so I haven't mentioned it at all, actually. So that's fine. That's part of the many things I need to do for this to be finalized. So let's have it here. To do, we need to document this command as well as its two user options. Okay, so let's have that and let's commit, folks. So let's commit here. I want to add that. Let me make sure. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and do this and this and this. Okay. Add user option, blah, and relevant commands. Okay. Okay, and then add the to do to document the hierarchy view. Okay, so push. Oh, I had the other things that I didn't push. Oh, I wrote the things and I didn't push them. I thought I had. Okay. Anyway, so now I pushed. Do I have a? Okay, that's the other thing. Okay, now what I want to do is go back to what I was doing yesterday or this morning, actually. So the alphanumeric delimited scheme. And I stashed that earlier. Let's go ahead and pop that stash. We don't really care about it. And what was I doing up until this point? Just starting to add extensions. So let's see. I was making some documentation changes, namely to add this new alphanumeric delimited scheme. By the way, I have the convert. So what I want to do is the scheme here. What I want to do is here. The value is among. the schemes are no users can change the scheme, the applicable scheme for one file or those marked in dred by calling the command blah. Okay. Okay, so that's good. So they have that information at the top, so they don't have to worry about it. I wrote this earlier, right before the stream, and okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's start to see if I can actually implement it. So this is something I started yesterday, and this morning I wrote some more code which improves it. But if you look at the code, it's basically what I was doing yesterday, the same idea, and I wrote some more of it. And yeah, I think it's right, but there is a chance that there are more things to be done. Um, I don't like this one let. I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. I will tweak how I did it because the idea with this is that we want to eventually have a let binding here, but when you have so many things that you are not let binding, it kind of looks awkward. So I would rather do this. Let's have and not. Okay, let's have. So if we are in this scenario, then let the strings be this. And then here, what we want is when and this passes, that passes, and then this is true. Of course, wait, the and, yeah, the when doesn't close there. Okay. Wait, oh, that's, no, there, that's correct, right? Of course, now it is correct, yeah, here. Now it looks like it has more indentation and stuff. There are more things going on. But at least conceptually, this is easier to reason about, I think. Whereas what I had before was more compact, but it was a when let that ultimately had one binding. So, yeah. But this is stylistic, of course. So let me actually commit this change. Which is where is it? Here. It's this thingy over here. Make stylistic tweaks to blah. Okay, so there is that. And now let's continue. User selected scheme. So I was starting to extend this. And basically, I want to reach a point where the user can do something like denote-sequence. Denote-sequence, hopefully I can write. And they will, no, it's actually not this. I'm mistaking it now. It's, do I have something with a scheme, with a specific scheme? I don't. Okay, that's good. That's good. Basically, we want to reach a point where the user can set their scheme and then it will do the right thing. But we are not there yet. So these, I believe they are wrong. I mentioned it in the stream that I was doing yesterday. But because I have forgotten exactly what I am testing with those partial ones, I will leave them as they are. But here I still need to extend it to support the alphanumeric scheme, even though it won't be partial at this point. But let me read a little bit the documentation. Return the sequencing scheme of sequence in accordance with the denote-sequence scheme. So it will return it as a console of the sequence and the scheme, blah, blah, blah. The partial we don't care about. Okay, so the partial we will not care about for the time being. It's not partial and it's alphanumeric. So we have that. Okay. It's this and that. So what I want there is alphanumeric delimited. I had a reason why I put the numeric after the alphanumeric, but I wouldn't want to have the alphanumeric delimited first. Actually, I will. Because there has to be a reason why I put them in this order. So alphanumeric delimited, and this is alphanumeric delimited, like this. Partial, of course, we don't have. Alphanumeric delimited partial p. If they are partial, no, we don't have the partial for now. We will get to that. We don't have the partial, so let me add the to do. Implement the thing, and of course, fix me. What are we even doing with those partial checks? Because of course I don't remember anymore. So we have that. Okay. I think here there is a mistake in the implementation of this, because I check explicitly that it is not numeric, and I wonder if I do this in my other as well, in the alphanumeric. There I don't do it. Here I don't do it. So probably I shouldn't be doing it there either. Probably I shouldn't be doing it here either. But I will have it as a to-do because I am not sure. Probably this should not be here due to how we end up with this check. And then I will mention this here. See, for example, that which already checks for the numeric before it reaches this one. Okay, so I think this is wrong. I think this thing I have to remove and then just check that there is the here, that there is the equals sign. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue, folks, and see what we can do with this. Okay, so I implemented this here. Do I have a test for this in my tests? Let's go and find out. I don't, of course not. So let's go to the scratch. And probably I don't need even, but that's also why I don't remember what are the partials about. So we will have a sequence. Let's have a sequence like this first of all. And then let me do the denote sequence scheme. And for now, I will say numeric. Let me see what this will do. Here it says that, okay, that's nice. And then here, let's do alphanumeric. It's correct. Oh, that's wrong. Already we have the first error. So that's already wrong. Let's go here and let's fix it. Because of course, this is a superset. So let's put it last. Okay. Let me see. Okay, this should be the alphanumeric. Let's do some more tests. So if it's like this is alphanumeric. And if it's like this, what it will be now? Fantastic. Okay. So actually I did the right thing now, because even though my scheme is the alphanumeric scheme, it understood that this cannot be alphanumeric. This is alphanumeric delimited. So it did the right thing. Okay, that's good. I should write some tests now for this, because it's a pity to have this function and not have tests. Of course, the partial is still the question mark, so I will check what to do about that. Let's come here. These are the tests I wrote this morning. So let's define some test over here. As I was saying yesterday, the DST here is a feature. Let me say it again today, because it's a feature that is implemented in Emacs called shorthands. If you evaluate this, it takes you to the manual, which explains what shorthands are. But in short, you have this at the bottom of your file. You see here the local variables. And this thing over here says that DST actually means denote sequence test and the dash. Okay? And me, I generally don't like this for my code, but for my tests, it is fine. The reason I don't like it for my code is that I cannot grep for this. And I prefer to write more than to actually have something that I cannot find. Uh, anyway, that said, let's get to business. Test that the thing um, covers all cases or whatever. So it should not, let's start with a should not. So this should not, if I give it a, what will it do? Like this? Error. Okay, fantastic. Should error. Should error. Let me see. What is the error actually? Does not pass, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it should error. So that's good. If I do now should, oh, grep is essential. Yeah, grep is really important. And it's not just grep. It's anything you do, like it could be Emacs occur, it could be even an I search forward. Like there are so many cases. Also, if you see many times I will jump around in the file, maybe you have seen it already. And essentially that's a grep in the file, right? So it's important to have that sort of thing. So this should equal, yeah, this is actually ambivalent. So this should equal, okay. So here we need to do a little bit more work. Let the denote sequence scheme be numeric. And in this case, this should equal a cons of numeric and the sequence, right? Let me see. No, and like this. No. What was this again? Ah, it's the other way around. So, okay, like this. Yes, this is true. Okay, so we have to do this for the others as well. So if it's alphanumeric and it cannot decide what it should be, it defaults to what the user has preferred. So I like that. Alphanumeric, delimited. This is the idea. And there we have it. So this is, of course, in the scenario where it only has a number in front. Oh, for this one, it didn't actually work. So I will check why it didn't work. But this is anyway the scenario where it only has a number in front where it's ambiguous because all of them accept this. That's the beginning of a sequence. For all of them, this is actually valid. So in this case, it should fall back to this. Why didn't do the right thing now? We will see. Let's see, we have a comment here. It's one of those ungodly contrario cackles somewhere out there in the audience. I don't get the reference, but yeah, so let's see. This was by Priya Push K996. So, very good. I must say that generally I'm not really familiar with popular culture. Like, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched in an eternity. I don't follow mainstream music, like all these things that people do, and it's like I live under a rock, folks. So many of the references I don't get. So what can we do? Let's find out why this thing is wrong here. It shouldn't be wrong. Let's go to the denote sequence, and here let's see what is the error. Let's do an edebug here. So control U, control meta X, and then let's evaluate this to see what is happening. So it is not partial. Get out of there. Let's see. The sequence scheme is not numeric, so get out of there. It is partial. It's not partial. it is alphanumeric. Uh-huh. Yeah, this is not good. Um, hmm. Yeah, I have to think of how best to approach this because, of course, this is the edge case, basically. I think the edge case needs an extra condition here where it's like here at like this. So string match P. So we have just numbers like this. So if we are in a scenario like this in the sequence, then return whatever the user prefers because all of them are valid. I think this is, um, if it's partial, um, so I will do and not partial. I'm not sure again what those partial ones are about. I don't remember. But for now, let's respect it. So now this should work. Nil. Oh my goodness. What am I doing wrong in this world? Let's see. Let's find out. So evaluate. So it's not partial. And this is matching. Alphanumeric delimited. So what is so what did it return? Result. Oh my goodness! It's my mistake. Of course, I have to return a cons of sequence and that. Okay, good. Okay, so this passes with flying colors. Okay, that's great. Let's come back here. Actually, that's what this function does. Let me see. Is it doing anything else? It throws an error. Like either it will throw an error or it will return a sequence scheme of some kind. Of course, I could do more exhaustive tests, but for now, this is already a good place to start. Let's actually write some more tests now, which will just use this. So those are kind of the edge cases. So I prefer to have those at the bottom. So let's do should. This one, let's do equal. And let's have 1a. This should equal a cons of 1a and then the alphanumeric scheme. And maybe I can do the same thing I was doing there so that at least I am consistent in this regard. So we have that. If it is now if it is this now, it should be alphanumeric delimited. I don't need to check for all the permutations of those schemes because that's why I have the more specialized tests above. So here, let's have this, and this should be numeric, and then here, this should be like that. Okay, and then let's run this test. Did I evaluate this buffer? Emacs ERT sequence and scheme P. Let's see, it passes the test. Okay, so that's good. And let's commit at this point. No, actually, let's not commit. Let's continue. What is this here? Ah, okay. How many of those do I have? Okay, I will check this. This is not a problem. This is not an issue right now. Let's see where we are. Let's go to denote sequence rather. Okay, so this is return the sequencing scheme of strings. Ooh, not good because we assume two, and we check for one of the two, and we see that if there is an alpha, it's an alphanumeric, which of course doesn't work, but I already like the idea of this, so let's do a cond. This is the case, otherwise it's not numeric, actually. Otherwise, it is what the user prefers. So again, we will have this edge case here. Again, we will have this edge case. So this edge case here is what the user prefers. So denote sequence denote-sequence scheme, then a scenario like this is where we have alpha. It cannot be just alpha. It has to be alpha. It has to be that. If it's just that, delimited. Okay, we also need to run a test for this, of course. Sequence. This is strings. Oh, okay. So that doesn't work. So we need to do a regular expression for strings. Let me think. We need to do a regular, but if it's many strings, of course, this makes no sense anymore because you could have a number. Yeah, I will have to err on the side of this, but this to me looks wrong. Already, this looks wrong. This does not look robust to me because, okay, it doesn't look robust to me. Let's just leave it like this. Though I am not sure what strings is all about. Maybe it is a sequence that has been split by level of depth. Yes. Okay. So if it's by level of depth, then the only way for this to be numeric, actually, I will do it like this. Okay, I know, I will fix it. I will fix it right now. Let's fix it right now. So we will put this first. We will put this last. No, let's put it like this. And actually, let's put this. So here we will do seek every P. Seek every P. And here we will do the 0 or 9. 0 through 9, one or more times. And this means that it is numeric. So if all the strings are numbers, then it means it's numeric. But this is, yes. It cannot be all the strings, though, because it could also be like this. Okay. It's a numeric. Otherwise, we fall back to what the user prefers, which is that. And then, of course, I need to do some checks, but I need to see where this is used. It's only used in one place. And this one place, what is it doing? The strings. Where are the strings? Get all sequences. Get all sequences. This will return sequences. Just the strings are sequences. Okay. So let me just run this in the test silo here, just to confirm. Yes, okay. Then that thing is wrong. The strings, the whole strings approach here, scheme of strings, it's completely wrong like this. Why am I repeating myself? What it should do, it should do a seek every P. So I will have to write it differently. It will have to be a seek every P for. But wait. It's for all schemes. So for all strings. So yes, it assumes that they are homogeneous. So there has to be. This cannot be right. So it has to be a seek every P, and then it has to be denote sequence numeric P, right? So for every string, just do that. And then it's the same idea for the others. Maybe I can also try this new command that I implemented earlier in substitute. But let me just bring substitute because I haven't actually updated the package. Let me evaluate. So do I have it now? So if I now do this, do I have it? Oh, fantastic. Alphanumeric. So substitute is one of my packages, and I implemented the feature, rather a command where I do a replacement only on the current line, like that. And then, of course, I can do it like this. So this makes more sense. This looks cleaner. This looks more robust, and I don't perform more checks. Of course, now I will go and check if this is right. But let me get to the comments because I got a couple of comments here. Pablo asks, for comments like to do and fix me, do you use occur to find them in the project at a later time? Does your Emacs surface the comments? Yes. So I have a function, actually two functions. So one is basically an occur that I have predefined, so you can see it here. Um, Actually, we cannot see the whole thing here because, of course, I had to over-engineer it. There are the search to do keywords. It basically doesn't occur for these keywords, okay? Of which I don't use most of those. To do and fix me and note. Everything else, yeah, I should simplify this. So that's the one thing. And then I have another one, which I rarely use, which is a grep. And the grep is for the whole project. But in reality, I don't really do project wide searches because if I am working on a file, then I am like, okay, what do I need to know about this file? That is the idea. Let's see. I want to test this, but let me go on to the two more comments. Yogi says, "Hi, did you get another battery, or are the days now just longer for you?" Oh, I did get a battery. So when I first got here, so I have a off-grid solar panel setup, okay? And when I first got here, I had gel batteries, and those basically were really cheap and really underpowered. Um, it was a good compromise for me because otherwise I would have no electricity, so I didn't have enough money. And I was like, okay, let's get the cheap ones and let's buy time. And then fast forward 2.5 years later, and I got a newer battery, which is bigger and more capable. And now I practically have electricity all day. Like, it's very difficult for me to expend all that electricity. And on the question of longer days, especially these days have been rainy, so they are also dark days, right? Even then, the solar panels output enough electricity, and I don't really consume any electricity. Like, I don't have heating, for example. Like, it's just a few lamps on the computer. So it's not like I have a lot of machinery going on here. And so in practice, I cannot expend all that electricity. Of course, eventually I will have more kitchen appliances and stuff, and then it will start pushing the battery levels down. But we will see when that will happen. Of course, also now the world is spiraling out of control on the economic front with wars in the region. Yeah, I don't know how the future will look like. It's not looking promising, though. Things are looking bleak on the financial front, but we will see. Kof M says, Prot, hello everybody. So hello to you, thank you very much. And Pablo says, thank you very much, and you are welcome. So let's get to business. Let's try this, folks. So I want this here, and what I want to do now is a trick that I do many times. Let me go here. So earlier I came here and I did a val expression, and then I evaluated this, but I don't want to be evaluating it all the time. So let me do set q test here. Okay, so I created a global variable, and then I can pass it to this and say, okay, what was that? And they are all alphanumeric, and let me confirm, they are indeed all alphanumeric. So of course, this assumes that they are homogeneous, but this is totally fine because of the way it is used. Let me, though, implement a quick test for this now, because here, actually, do I even need a test for that? Um, Wait, let me look at the code again. Does it throw an error at any point? Like, what? I forgot what is it doing. Um, it should actually throw an error at that point. Let me see. But let me make sure. Get all sequences with max depth. Um, I don't think this assumes they are homogeneous, actually. And neither does this. Of course, if the user is mixing and matching, that's their problem, right? But here we don't assume they are homogeneous. So technically, this is incorrect. So let me write something here. This is technically incorrect because it assumes homogeneity of sequencing schemes, but we never enforce as much. Okay, so yeah, that's good. I'm not sure how best to tackle that. It shouldn't be done here anyway. So um, this is fine. This is fine, but it shouldn't be done here. The enforcement shouldn't be at this point. Let's see here. So we have join and stuff. Let me actually store this. Split. Oh, split I think is a big one because, okay, so actually the numeric and the alphanumeric split at the same point. PCase, I believe, has an OR. Um, I believe it's this alphanumeric delimited. And of course, let's take a look at the PCase docs. There is an OR path. So I think what I wrote there is correct, but let me quickly check in the scratch buffer. So let's say PCase thing, and then I will do or thing that. Let's of course I should have just said this, right? Or whatever, doesn't matter. This works, okay? And then if I do that, it works again. So we are good. Let's go back here. The scratch buffer, by the way, is fantastic. So, and just to say, because I do this all the time, and maybe you have a question, I keep doing this all the time. And this is one of the functions I wrote a while ago. And it's one of my favorites because I use it all the time. It prints and it's great. I get to see the return value right away below, and I really enjoy it. So let's go back to where we were here. So I think this is correct. Let me see. But I need to check for the partial. Again, we do rather. I do. I wrote all of this, of course. So I keep saying we. Let's see. Partial. Yeah, granted. So the alphanumeric delimited needs to handle partial sequences. Okay, so we have that. This is looking good. Of course, here it had to do an alternation. This is fine. I think this is okay. It's the sort of alternation that I was doing in the last stream as well. And I also did this morning. So I hope I won't do it again because it always is messing me up. It's always confusing. So alpha to number, convert string to alphabetic characters to its numeric. I think this is good. We don't need to check that. Number to alpha, alpha to number complete, number, blah, blah, blah. Make the conversion. What is this? Convert string to its counterpart sequencing. Okay, this is, okay. So, of course, here is where I would want to add the alphanumeric delimited, but let me think. Alpha to number is what I would want to do. And of course, this relies on partials. So here I have to review this. But okay, I can add. Let me go to the denote scheme, sequence scheme. So let me add the to do here, which is an overriding to do. Um, the alphanumeric delimited is not supporting partial sequences. This will probably be a problem for denote sequence convert. Okay, so I know that. And then let's do here add support for the alphanumeric delimited. By the way, let me just very quickly write this into a register because I keep typing it out and it's stressful. I'm like always checking to make sure that there is no typo. Because if there is, I might miss it. So increment the partial. Okay. Now the partials start to make sense because, of course, I need when I will expand, when I will add to the sequence to, of course, add to only a part of it, not to the whole thing. So this makes sense. If it's alpha. So of course it's the whole thing with partials. I won't do this today because this is a big rabbit hole. So I won't even start it now. But let me do a review here of what else I need to do. So of course here we are working with partials. The depth, that's fine. Actually, does this work already if I do something like this? If I do 1A, does this work already? That's working already because of the split, which I modified earlier. So that's fantastic. That's great. Implied P. Okay, if it has depth. I think after this point, there isn't much to do with the sequencing schemes. So after this point, we start working with the structure of the hierarchy. And then, of course, that's great because there is a separation of concerns. I don't need to rewrite the entire file. Um, but let me confirm that this is the case. So this is good. Prefix P. What is the prefix? What does this mean? Has okay, a prefix. Okay, I will show you what this means. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's go take a look at what the prefix means. So not here. I want to do in the test silo here. So I have a sequence here: 1A, 1B, 1B1, 1B2, and then there is another called 2, right? So let's say I want to only see what is 1B and onward. So I was using this command earlier, the denote sequence view hierarchy. And if I just do that, it shows all of them here. By the way, they are large now because of the theme settings. Normally, they will be the same size as the rest of the text. So I want to only see now 1B and friends. So limit to all files that extend 1B. And now I only see 1B. I don't need to see the entire tree. I only want to see what extends 1B. An alternative to this is with a double prefix, you say, okay, I want to see everything up to, let's say, 2 levels of depth. So I no longer see 1B1 and 1B2 because those are 3 levels of depth. So that's an alternative way to go about it. And let's go here. And this is what this whole prefix business is about. Let's see, what do we have? With max depth, exactly what I just showed you. I think after this point, folks, there isn't much or anything with here. What change did I make? I just created a new line. Okay. There isn't much change or anything with the schemes. So it's up until the point that I showed there. And then we do other things. So I think that's great. So let me just quickly check if there is much more. Actually, they have another command of mine. We were on line 700, blah, blah, here. So get the largest. That's fine. This might be using the schemes. No, it doesn't. Get the largest. Maybe here. No, it doesn't. Get the new child, get new, okay, new parent. Wonderful. I think that's great. Basically, that's it. And then display a hierarchy. Okay, so that's great. So what I need to do is just sort out the partials. And basically, this feature is ready to be introduced to the main branch, folks. Yeah, that's fantastic. There are plenty of to-dos, of course, to get there. Just among those that I wrote today, and there was one I also wrote yesterday. Yeah, I think this is a good point then to close the live stream. And this was a productive, what was it, hour plus. And I think this is shaping up nicely, and I'm happy to see it mature and for users to try it out. Yeah, that's all for today, folks. Thank you very much for your attention and for the comments. This was a spontaneous live stream. I was about to do this anyway, and then I was like, well, let's do it live. And I gave you like 20, 30 minutes of forewarning. So take care and goodbye for now. I